People have a 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or $50,000 hospital bill that needs to be addressed. One Islamic scholar writes that Islam is the religion of honor and pride, and the religion of high status in this world and in the hereafter. One of the things that Islam teaches us is to be proud and strong. And our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the weak believer, even though both are good. Believer is always good, but the strong believer is better than the weak believer. But because you're a weak believer doesn't mean that you're lacking or you're insufficient. It just means that you need to try harder to become stronger and stronger every single day. Having a profession, it enables you to help those in need through your earnings. So if you, alhamdulillah, mashallah, tabarakallah, Allah blesses you with money, you take some of their hard-earned money and you spend fi sabilillah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So alhamdulillah, this last couple of weeks, I was away for Umrah. And so when I was in Umrah and I was in Mecca, I walked out of Haram and there's a line of restaurants, a long line of restaurants, and there's people waiting in line. So brothers and sisters are going and they're paying to the restaurant owner and people are being fed. Subhanallah, mashallah, tabarakallah. Right outside of the Haram, people are being fed constantly. Like there's food just being given away. Guy goes, girl goes, lady goes, sister goes, and says, you know what, here's some money. I don't know how much this is going to get, but if this get whatever it gets, please help these people out. Help these people. This is one of the beautiful ways of helping your brother. Another way, you go into the Haram, and there's people that are walking around and they work there, they're employees, and they're giving you Zamzam water and you're spreading it out. SubhanAllah, just giving out the water. Others are coming there with bags of dates and boxes of dates and they're handing out dates. Handing out dates from the beautiful land of Medina Munawwara. Medina al-Munawwara, where the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has described some of the best dates that you'll find on the face of the planet. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. So constantly helping. These are people that are working. These are people that are diligent. They have good earnings. And then they have goodness in their heart to give money away. People are buying mushaf, the copies of the Quran, and they're taking it inside the masjid, and they're putting it so people can, and be fi sabilillah, for the sake of Allah. You saw a box, you just threw it in there. Nobody saw you. The only one that knows is you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that there's $100 in there. This is a person who will be shaded by the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who sponsors an orphan. Whether it's a relative of his or not, and the Prophet Muhammad said, he and I will be like this, meaning the middle finger and the ring finger together, meaning we're connected. We're going to be connected. We're going to be bros. We're going to be peeps, right? We're going to be like this. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, again, the forefinger and the middle finger combined. Whoever takes care of 2 or 3 daughters, or who takes care of 2 or 3 sisters until they die before him or he dies before them, and the Prophet ﷺ again said, he and I will be like this, with the 2 fingers again. He constantly does this. Whoever takes care of these daughters or the sisters, whoever takes care of an orphan, the one who looks after a widow or even looks after a poor person is like a mujahid, a warrior who fights for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prefers him because it's like he's performing prayers all night and he fasts all of the day. These are different ways, Ya Akhwal Islam, that if you are in different fields, you can help out. Question 2. So let me ask you another question. Ready for another question? How far can one go? How far can one go and learn the worldly knowledge? How far can one go and learn the worldly knowledge, even by having good intentions? Meaning, what is the maximum limit? What is this upper limit? As time spent on it means less time to learn Islamic knowledge. So now you are a doctor and you want to keep on going and going and going. You're an attorney and you want to keep on going and going and going and studying and getting to the top of your field. You're an accountant or CPA and you keep on going and going and going to the top of your field. How far can you go? How far can you go up? Because the further you go up and the further you get involved in your careers and the further you get involved in your jobs, your careers, your duties, whatever it is, the less time it has for the religious knowledge. The less time it has for religious knowledge. So how far do you think you go? So if we were to take a scale and we say 0% to 100%, how many people think that you should have 50-50? 50% for work and 50% for deen. 100% balance, huh? 50-50 all the time. It should be balanced. Moderation. How many think that the percentages should be a little bit different? How many people think 75% work and 25% deen? How many people think 75% religion and 25% world? MashaAllah, MashaAllah. You guys are going to be the scholars of Islam, inshallah. How many people think 100% deen, religion, and 0% world? You're going to be monks. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. Can't be monks either, right? Remember, we live in this world. We live in this world, and we're supposed to live in this world. Meaning, we live in this world, and we're supposed to live in it, interact with people, and not be monks, and not just sit inside of the masjid in the first row behind the imam and just read Quran all day and not doing anything else. There has to be a balance. There has to be a balance, and that balance is depending on you. Sometimes that balance will be more towards religion, more deen. So for example, the month of Ramadan comes. The last 10 nights of Ramadan comes. What are you going to try to do? 100%. 100% towards the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to try to please Him. Why? Because we know in the last 10 nights of Ramadan, what is there? There's a night of power, Laylatul Qadr, that we're going to try to achieve that. In the days of Hajj, the first 10 days, whether if you're at Hajj, khalas, 100% religion, 100% deen. But if you're not at Hajj, but you have the 10 days, the 9 days here before Eid, what are you going to do? You're going to do as much good deeds as possible. While you continue work, or maybe you take some time off, you do other things. When you're at Umrah, you're going to go and you're going to stay at a hotel and play games, video games? Huh? No video games? Come on, man, you guys are extreme. Can I play a little bit? A little bit? The haram is there, you're going to play video games? Astaghfirullah. Trick question. When you're in Mecca, the best thing that you can do in the Mecca is tawaf. Because you can't do tawaf anywhere in the world. You can't do tawaf anywhere in the world except in Mecca. So when you're in Mecca, please don't play any video games. When you're in Mecca, you're going to stay in a 5-star hotel and have breakfast buffet, lunch buffet, dinner buffet? Subhanallah. We're spoiled in America. We're spoiled. Subhanallah. Try to eat less. The less you eat, the more energy you have. Do you eat to live or live to eat? How many people here eat to live? How many people here live to eat? Right? These are all you think about philosophy, this is philosophical differences without questioning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are philosophical. It's your bend. Where do you want to be? What end do you want to be on? This is very important. These are things that we need to think about. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, seeking religious knowledge is an obligation on every Muslim. The best of you, the Prophet ﷺ said, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ. The best of you are the people who learn this Qur'an and they teach it to the people. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about righteous people, He's talking about religious people, people who are spiritually on this side. They're always leaning towards the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that out of all the people, the best amongst you, meaning you want to have the highest ranking in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're going to go towards Quran. You're going to go towards Sunnah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala said, it's well known that a person should have knowledge of real life. Think of it. Listen to this carefully. It is well known that a person should have knowledge of real life so that he will know how people are living. Proper understanding requires applying proper understanding of Islam to people's lives. But it is not permissible under any circumstances to focus on studying life and reality at the expense of studying religion to such an extent that a person has no concern, but all they do is like read newspapers or check their iPhone all the time on news and whatever's going on in the world, or check text and whatever, magazines and so on, and totally neglects to study the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This, Ya Akhwal Islam, this is Shaykh al-Uthaymeen. This is contemporary scholar. This is a contemporary scholar, rahimahullah ta'ala. Every Muslim does not need to become an Islamic scholar, but we should regularly seek Islamic knowledge. This is important. Sitting in Monday night booths, going to the Jummah prayer, listening to the khutbah. These are important things because these are reminders that remind you. The weekly Friday prayer is supposed to be a reminder from one Friday to the next Friday. From one Friday to the next Friday, and it's not supposed to be something that's supposed to give you immense amount of knowledge. It's supposed to be something that shakes you, that shakes the foundation inside of you, and it makes your heart start pumping again, and it gives you a boost because you need to be able to come back next Friday and be able to become better than what you were last week. This is the purpose of Friday prayer. The nasiyah, the advice, that reminder has to bring you back at a better pace. Higher, better. You're supposed to become better every Friday. And sometimes, people like myself, we fail ourselves and we fail the people because we don't give them the knowledge, we don't give them that boost that they need to come back next week better than they were the week before. The khatibs are responsible. The scholars of Islam are responsible. So this is important. This is very extremely important. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah subhanahu jalla wa ala, the deeds that He loves, the best deeds, the absolute best deeds, are the ones that are done consistently. You know how one day we just feel really inspired, and I'm in the mood today, you know? I'm in the zone. You ever play basketball and you're on fire, in fuego? Right? A lot of you guys I know are always on fuego, right? You guys are good ball players. I'm talking about when you get on that fire and you're in that zone, be like, oh, give me that ball, I got it. Right? That's not the deen that we're looking for. We're not looking for people who are in the zone all the time. Like, zone once in a while, and they get some, great baskets and great. We're talking about people who are consistent players. Consistent players. We like the player who is the fundamentally sound player. He's got good footwork. Every time he touches the ball, good footwork, and he's facing it the right way. He's pushing the defender. When he defends, he's got his locked in, right? This is the ball player that we're looking for. Same way in the deen, we're looking for a person who does little things, and he doesn't constantly. We're trying to do once in a lifetime great things. That's not Islam. That's not what we're looking for. If that happens in life, that's great, alhamdulillah. The one thing that we're looking for are people who are consistent and constant. Who is better? A person who once in a while gives $10,000, or a person who constantly gives out of his regular paycheck $50 or $100 a week or a month? Constantly gives is much better. Constantly gives. That's the person. Do you know people who work? They always have money taken out of their IRA account, their paycheck, to go into their 401k. They have this automatic thing taken out of their money, taken out of their paycheck, they takes it out and invests for them. In this world, for retirement. What about your retirement in the next world? Why not set up that account with a bank account to an organization that's sponsoring orphans, to an organization that's feeding the poor, and have that $10, $5, $1, 30 cents, 60 cents, whatever it is that you can have minimum taken out on a regular basis from your account. This, the little deeds, Ya Akhwal Islam, the little deeds. We don't need to focus on this one massive deed for the remainder of our lives. We just focus on the simplest of things. The most regular, constant deeds, even if they're few, those are the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. As long as one is regularly seeking Islamic knowledge, then seeking worldly knowledge can be a form of striving for ihsan, or excellence. Islam teaches us to strive for excellence in all things. Verily, Allah has prescribed excellence in all things. So even for slaughtering, when you slaughter, make sure you slaughter well. Allah loves perfection. That not just that you're perfect, that you Strive for perfection, strive for excellence. We'll never become perfect, but that striving for perfection, for that excellence, this is what Allah subhanahu jalla wa ala loves. So, Allah subhanahu jalla wa ala wants us to constantly come towards Him with little and with constant deeds. Little and constant deeds, constantly coming towards Him. I have the third question for you. Third question. Everybody ready? All right, Bismillah. Let's use any example. What field do you want to use today? Doctor, accountant? Accountant, because I'm an accountant, right? Okay. Alhamdulillah. Will a great Muslim accountant with great contribution to the world and great Islamic practices be on the same level as a scholar in the Akhirah? There's a scholar of Islam and there's a great accountant. I pray 5 times a day, inshallah. I fast. I do zakah. I go for Hajj. I've done my Hajj duties. What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't. The scholar is better. So let's say the second part of the question. If no, meaning you're saying the scholar is better. If not, what does this accountant need to do to reach the level of the alim? Yes? Memorize 40 hadith. Very good. Okay. Seek knowledge. I'm sorry, say it again. Fund a da'wah program. Okay, fund students that will become alim, inshallah. Okay. So the question basically is, how does one reach Jannatul Firdaus Sala'ala through one's own profession? Yes, sister. One of the learned people. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very good. It is 100% true that a scholar holds a very high level of respect with Allah subhanahu jalla wa ala and all of creation. But the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the excellence of the scholar over the worshipper is like my excellence over the lowermost of you. And indeed Allah subhanahu jalla wa ala, His angels, the inhabitants of the heavens and the earth, and even the ant in its hole and the fish in the sea supplicate for the one who teaches good to the people. Well, it can be the simplest of good. The simplest of good. One does not need to be a scholar. One does not need to be a scholar to reach the highest level of Jannah. Let me repeat. One does not need to be a scholar, an alim, to reach the highest level of Jannah or Jannatul Firdaus al-A'la. Why? Because paradise has 100 grades. 100 grades. Each of which is big as the distance between the heaven and the earth. SubhanAllah, that's a great distance. Between the earth and the heaven, there's 7 skies. If there's earth, there's sky 1, sky 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there's Jannah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you go for 100 different grades of Jannah. La ilaha illallah. The highest of them being Jannatul Firdaus al-A'la, Jannatul Firdaus, that's the highest. Above this is the throne of Allah subhanahu jalla wa ala. La ilaha illallah. That is the majesty of Allah. When we ask for Jannah, the Prophet ﷺ said to us to ask for the highest level. The highest level. So, paradise has 100 grades, each of which is as big as the distance between the heaven and the earth. The highest of them is Firdaus, and the best of them is Firdaus. The throne is above the Firdaus. From it spring forth the rivers of paradise. And if you ask Allah subhanahu jalla wa ala, you ask Him for what? Firdaus. Firdaus, the highest level of Jannah. Most certainly those believers have attained true success. Allah subhanahu jalla wa ala says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين فمن ابتغى وراء ذلك فأولئك هم العادون والذين هم لأماناتهم وعهدهم راعون. Constantly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us all of these people who have attained success. Aflah. Who are these people? These are the people who during their prayer, they're absolutely humbly submissive to Allah. They submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, I was at Umrah last week, and I remember this brother was praying, and also he started looking around. I thought it was so weird. You know, like you're walking around doing tawaf, and he's just looking around. And subhanAllah, like humbly submissive is you're looking down. Where do you look? When you pray, where do you look? Down where? At your feet? No. Where do you look? Where are you going to make sujood? The way you should be looking at the place where you're going to make sujood. Now you're sitting. Now here's another question. You're standing in front of the Kaaba. Can I look at the Kaaba or still I need to look at the sujood place? Look at the sujood place. Don't look at the Kaaba. Look at the sujood place. You don't look at the Kaaba. Kaaba is just a direction. Do you know the people when they went there? They're going and they're hugging the Kaaba. They're strapping. The Kaaba doesn't bring any benefit to anybody. The Kaaba itself, it's just a stone structure. What does the Kaaba represent or give us? It gives us a direction. It gives us a direction. That's all it gives us. It gives us no spiritual powers. You don't touch it. And if you want to touch it, I went to touch it just to see what it felt like. There was cement, stone behind it. That's what it felt like. I touched it. SubhanAllah, when you go to Medina al-Munawwara, you go to the Prophet ﷺ's Masjid, people touching the door. And, I was like, SubhanAllah, this door wasn't at the time this door wasn't even around during the times of the Prophet ﷺ. If it was around, I was like, you know what, I'll give him a break. But this door was just built 100 years ago, 200 years ago. It's made out of gold, right? So people do things, and you're thinking to yourself, SubhanAllah, how far they've gone. And then when you go and you see the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, SubhanAllah, people trying to reach over it and touch it. What are you going to do? It's just, you're not going to touch the grave. You're not going to be, and even if you did, you're not going to be able to get anything out of it. Nothing. It does nothing for you. All you do is send salah and salam on the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The proper way of passing by. And you see this with your own eyes and you're like, SubhanAllah. How much we've degraded. The knowledge is lacking. The knowledge is lacking. And it goes down, and it goes down, and it goes down as the generations go on. Can I ask you why? Why do you think we're losing? We're losing knowledge. We have books upon books, but yet people, generally I'm speaking, mashallah, tabarakallah, you think about this. How many people are here probably? 50 people? And how many people come in a Jummah prayer? 1,000? Where are the rest of the 950 people? Small portions, small groups of people are coming and learning the deen. Small groups of people are coming and learning this knowledge. And trying to benefit from this knowledge. And trying to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But do you know we have a bigger problem? You know what our bigger problem is? What do you think are one of the biggest problems we have in our masajid? In this masjid and other masajid as well. Yes. Waste a lot of time, okay. Now I'm talking about the way we do things in the masjid and the people we hire. Yes. Of course, disagreements, constant disagreements without knowledge. Without knowledge. Wallahi, I'm telling you, when you go and you stand in the Kaaba, you stand there, and you see the people, and the adhan is called, and now the iqamah is called, and everybody around the Kaaba is standing in prayer. They're all standing around in prayer. Wallahi, nothing like it in the world. Everybody together, Allahu Akbar. No doubt, how you do Allahu Akbar, whether you're touching your ears, you do it like this, you do it like this, you do it like this. Small, subtle differences. But when it's time to stand, Allahu Akbar. When it's time for ruku, in unison, everybody, Allahu Akbar. When it's Sami Allahu liman hamidah, to try to stand up from ruku, in unison, everybody stands up. This is the beauty of Allah's deen. This is the beauty. You know when you see this place, that you can't have any doubt in your mind that this is the truth. No matter what corner of the world you came from, and no matter what madhab, what fiqh you follow, when you're there, when you're praying, you can't tell the difference between what person from the other to the other person until that person opens their mouth. So what is the corruption that takes place? Is the tongue. We have an understanding, and we try to get our understanding across to that person. And we want to have our fiqh, and we want to squeeze that fiqh down their throats, rather than trying to understand it. That's a problem. That's a lack of knowledge. But the problems we have in our masajid, and I mean, like, here, Masjid Eesa, alhamdulillah, we've got imam and everything. The majority, the biggest problem is our thought process. Our thought process. How many here want to become an imam of the masjid? Oh, sisters can't become imam, right? I just want to make sure nobody raised their hand. You want to become imam of the masjid? What do your parents think about that? Your parents going to be okay with that? To become an imam of a masjid? No, right? Be like, what's that? Na'am, you said. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said no. The biggest problem that we have is people, parents, they want their children to be as successful as possible. Now let me ask you, how do people define success? How do people define success? Making money. Listen, you gotta have good money, and you gotta drive a hot car. Yeah, and you gotta have a good house. And you don't have to be an accountant. Actually, accountant. Oh, you have to be an accountant? You could try to be an accountant. The accountant, alhamdulillah, you do okay. You don't have a lot of money and you don't have a little money. Alhamdulillah, you do right, you do well.
You're only successful when you're satisfied.
You're satisfied, but the thing is, the people dictate what you do. So for example, let me ask you a question. So let me, honestly, and be honest, sisters too, be honest. If you found out that the imam of this masjid, or any other masjid that we go to, is making $150,000, how would you feel? As a person, you'd be okay? Yeah? Everybody? I would guarantee you, 99% of the population in the masjid would be like, whoa, why is he making $150,000? What does he do? The guy only leads salah. Give him $500 a week. That's more than enough. $26,000 is more than enough for the imam. Now you realistically think, when we think about our imams as someone who is extremely low on the totem pole and that he has no other expenses, he has family, he has children, it doesn't matter, and we don't have to feed them, and we don't. You know, in the Indian subcontinent, when you talk about becoming an imam, they'd be like, you have to wait for the food to come from the neighbor's house. SubhanAllah. The truth. 100% truth. You go to the Indian subcontinent, and if a child said, you know what, mom, dad, I want to become an imam of a masjid. They'd be like, why? The people are going to feed you, and you're going to wait for them, and they're going to starve you to death. Don't become an imam. It's because of our understanding of what an imam, a scholar of Islam, represents. The day we're okay with taking care of our imam, like the Jews take care of their rabbis, the Christians take care of their priests. They're well compensated. They're taken care of in terms of compensation, clothing, feeding their families if they have families. The rabbis have families, and the church now has changed their practice as well, and they're beginning to have families as well. They've gone away from celibacy. The day we basically as a group in every masjid and go around and say, you know what? The imam needs to be paid. The imam needs to get money, and he needs to have an appropriate money. The scholars, that's the time when you're going to have people like our children today, and they're going to become our imams. That's the difference, ikhwan. That's a major difference. And when we are going to say that the imam, and if the imam is not there, any person can go lead salah. That's not inaccurate. That's not the way the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did things. When one person was not available, when the Prophet alaihi salatu wasallam, if he was ever absent, the most highest person, meaning the person who's memorized the most Quran, would step up next. And if that person was absent because he was also with the Prophet ﷺ, or he was on another mission, or he was on another duty, the next person. Now, Masjid, how many people do you find I went to a masjid and I said, how many people are here Huffaz al-Quran? Not one person raised their hand. La ilaha illallah. This is the lacking of the deen. This is how we're getting more into the worldly life and leaving behind everything else. So the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that these are people who are successful. These are people who turn away from ill speech. Their tongue is clean. Foul language is nowhere near them. The people who are observant of zakah, they take zakat al-mal when it's owed and it's due, they pay it right away. And they give more. They give sadaqah. The people who guide their private parts, except from their wives and those their right hands possess, they're not going to be blamed. And whoever seeks beyond that, these are the people who are transgressors. And these are the people who their trust and their promises, they're attentive. When they make a trust, when they make a promise, they're attentive. They carefully maintain their prayers. These are inheritors. Who will inherit Al-Firdaus? These are the people that are going to be in Al-Firdaus. Allah tells us the answer. So yes, you do not need to be an alim. But if the entire population stays away from being an alim, we have a problem. We have a problem. The entire population cannot stay away from being an alim. We need somebody. We need somebody to step up. You want to be in the highest ranks, as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that the highest rank of knowledge is the Sharia, the law of Islam, the religion of Islam. You want to be high ranking. You want to be the khayrukum, meaning the best of amongst all of the people. You have to go towards the studies of religion. Studies of religion are extremely important. Praying with humility, turning away from ill speech, paying zakah, guarding the private parts, keeping promises, maintaining the salah, with discipline and sincerity, every believer has the potential to reach Jannatul Firdaus al-A'la. Let me stop here and ask any questions. Questions? Yes.
You were talking about consistency, so what do you think is better? Consistently donating every month or saving all your money for Ramadan and donating during Ramadan? Because rewards are amplified during Ramadan.
Very good question. So a lot of people, you see that. People save their money and then they pay and they try to do the big donation during the month of Ramadan because it's going to be multiplied. What you need to do and what you need to try to do is try to do it on a regular basis. And then in month of Ramadan, see if you can increase it, inshallah. Or at least keep it consistent all 12 months. Because are the poor and the needy only around during the month of Ramadan? No question for you. Are the poor and needy, are they poor and needy only in the month of Ramadan? They're poor all the 11 months as well, my brother. You got to take care. We got to give sadaqah. We got to take care of zakat al-mal. I see all the time. Behooves me. If you understand zakat al-mal, Zakatul mal, zakat, meaning this is something that you save for more than a year, right? But it's supposed to start a year ago. So you're telling me if you pay that zakatul mal in the month of Ramadan, that every single person on the face of the planet, they had this blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the saving only come in the month of Ramadan? La ilaha illallah. It's impossible. The zakatul mal is due on a regular basis, based on the asset. Once the year is out, it's not all. I know they'd say like you take all your assets together and you come up with it. No. It's from the time when nisab hits, and from the time you accumulate the asset, now you got to go a year, and it starts getting due all throughout the year. You can't hold back zakatul mal to pay it in the month of Ramadan so you can get that extra blessing. Allah Ta'ala alam. Yes, my brother.
I'd just like to add. Nobody's really guaranteed that you're gonna see Ramadan. So
Absolutely. And
just give now.
you're not gonna be. We might not even see the morning. You're absolutely right. I mean, so rather than when it's due, you pay it right away. So it's better to have zakat or sadaqah. Well, let's go with sadaqah first. That it's consistent. Consistent. I'm going to share some tips with you. If you don't have a regular habit on a Friday prayer, whatever it is, have a regular habit of giving something, whatever masjid you're in, reach into your pockets, and whatever it be, $1, $5, $10, $20, whatever you can do make sure you put in the masjid on a regular Friday, every Friday. You know? Rather than doing it monthly, do it weekly. And if Allah blesses you more, try to do something on a daily basis if you can, or more often, maybe 2 or 3 times in a week. And then Allah blesses you more, you do it every day of the week, inshallah. Every day of the year is covered. Even with just 50 cents or $1 a day. It's very little. Very little. We save in this manner. This is how we save money. We save money in little drips and drabs. Save money for akhirah as well, by giving it fi sabilillah, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala. Yes.
So you know that you have to pay like for zakat, like you have to pay like 2.5% of your wealth, right?
Yes.
So say for example, I mean, because I don't really know much about the topic, but like if you had to pay like, I mean, in February you paid 2.5%, and then like later in the same year, like you got a lot of money, like from like in February, for example, you had 50,000. Now, like in November, you got 100,000. You still got to pay like 2.5%, or you wait till next year.
From a year from that point.
Yeah.
So when you accumulate that, so for example, let's start with your example, and then one other correction. It's not based on the Christian calendar. It's based on the Islamic calendar, inshallah. So you're going to use Ramadan, Sha'ban, Dhul Hijjah, Dhul Qa'dah. So you're going to basically base it off of the Hijri calendar and count 12 months. So for example, today I receive, let's say, today I have $5,000. I got my IRS check back today. I deposit $5,000 today. A year from now, on that $5,000, I would pay zakat, 2.5%, if I still had that $5,000. So if it goes, nisab means there's a minimum amount. The minimum amount I think is about 3,000 or something like that, 3,000, 3,500. So if, as long as it stays above the 3,500, whatever is above it is you have to pay the 2.5% above it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know it's a little bit complex topic. Inshallah, we can go into more detail about zakat al-mal, as long as I can get a board and I can give you examples and stuff on when it's due and how it's paid. Inshallah, it's a heavy topic. It's very difficult to just say it in 2 minutes. So I think our time is up. Any final question before? Any final question? Okay, inshallah. We're going to have refreshments together, inshallah. I'm available. I'm here. Sisters, if you want me to come over, if you have any other questions, I'll take the mic off. And if there's any questions in private that you want, just let me know. Inshallah, I can move over and I can answer any questions for the sisters as well. Brothers, I'll give you first few minutes, and then inshallah I move over to the sisters if they have any questions. If not, then inshallah I'll stick with the brothers. We'll have refreshments right now. We'll go through, like I said, any questions you have, any comments, anything that you want to share, whatever, inshallah. The point of Monday Night Boost now is going to be a quick lecture, with interactive question answer, and then during the refreshment session is when we want to try to interact with each other, inshallah. Get to know each other. It helps the bond with the Muslim community. Sisters, if you don't know each other, please try to get together and introduce yourselves to each other. Brothers, if you don't know anybody, please try to introduce yourselves to others as well. If you don't know if there are other people that don't know each other, this is how communities grow, inshallah. So please, and again, please make du'a for our brothers and sisters that are struggling. Wallahi, there's too many problems. Again, in India right now, a lot of the Muslim brothers and sisters are going through some major complexities and stuff. Please keep them in your du'a. Our brothers and sisters in Kashmir are still suffering. Brother Maimun gave the khutbah last Friday about the brothers and sisters in China, in Uyghur. Please make du'a for them. Keep them in your du'a constantly. Just to remember how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has protected us here, and we have safety and security right now, and that can be taken away at any point in time when you don't realize what type of blessing we have. So please, the least we can do is make du'a for these brothers and sisters, so please keep them in your mind. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. until a year after. So let's say you hit
So inshallah, brothers, Sh.Azam Riaz is ready to get some questions. So sisters, just get the mic and ask questions.
next year you'll have to pay for that as long as you have for those. So let's say during the year you went on it. So you went, for example, 2,000, then you paid, you saved money, you hired some tax, and now you're back up to 4,000. Because it went down, you don't have this. Then you have to pay a year from that time.
Soccer player.